and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren, and today I'm looking at a Fat Files video. This is how to become an electrician. Trade school is a scam. I feel like before going into this video, I mean, he's saying trade school is a scam, but I feel like it's still probably less of a scam than college. Look, I'm sorry. I went to college, I got a degree, and I work in a bar. Like, come. I'm not really doing much with my degree right now at all. So it's like, I don't know. I spent a lot of money on college and didn't get really much out of it at all. At least with trade school, you potentially get to learn some stuff, and I feel like maybe they help place you. I don't know. He's going to tell me why it's a scam, though, so let's not waste any more time. Let's learn why I am wrong. Let's go.
It's always fun starting a YouTube video when you just know it's going to upset a lot of people.
Yes, I agree.
Today we're talking about how to become an electrician and why any community college or tech school or trade school that tries to get you to go to their program for 2 years to get a certificate or a diploma so that you can become an electrician is more or less a scam.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
And just so we're clear, I am a journeyman electrician. I have been for the past 5 years. The 5 years before that, I was a helper and an apprentice. So I've been doing this for 10 years. Okay. Since starting this whole YouTube thing I got going on, I've gotten thousands of emails from high school kids that want to figure out how to become an electrician and veterans that are leaving the military that want to transition over into the electrical field. And this is everything I tell them and everything I wish somebody told me when I was first trying to figure out how to become an electrician. Because if you get on the internet and Google how to become an electrician, it's very confusing. There's like 1,000 different answers. Most of them are wrong, and half of them are trying to sell you something that you need to pay thousands of dollars to get that you
I mean, it does sound like the internet. That sounds about accurate.
Don't actually need. And just so we're clear, I have no horse in this race, right? We're gonna play an ad here in a second. That's how I make my money. Once that ad plays, I've made all the money I'm gonna make off this video. Unlike most, if not all the other YouTube videos on this topic, I am not an instructor at a school that I'm trying to get you to go to. I don't have an online course that I've made to teach you how to do this job. I don't have anything to sell you.
Good. See, I appreciate that he's talking about that too, because that is a thing that a lot of YouTubers are doing these days. Trying to sell you on courses. Those are all scams, by the way. All those courses will teach you how to do is sell a course if you're lucky and you spent $400, $500 on it, sometimes more. Crazy. Do not do those.
I'm just trying to tell you the truth. So let's play this ad so I can make my money and then I'll tell you everything.
Nicholas.
Yes?
You've been so good this year. You should go buy yourself something nice.
These magic beans?
Yes.
Okay, what am I supposed to buy?
Is it a glove?
Something to feed the whole family.
You want me to go buy a grill for Father's Day with magic beans so I can cook you food?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Fine.
Yeah, yum!
Half hours later.
I want to...
Careful.
Can I write something on this?
I don't give a shit.
What the hell is this?
You told me to get something for Father's Day.
Is this thing gonna cook any meat?
It'll cook something.
All right, here's the deal. Super simple, straightforward business model.
That?
You give them money, they turn around and make sure the data brokers on the internet aren't selling your personal information. What does that even mean? Okay, here's the entire internet and every free service on the planet inside of a nutshell, okay? There's a saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. What that means is pretty much anything on the internet that you use, that's a service, whether that be Google, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of it, okay? It's all an app. So one of two things is happening. They're either gonna feed you ads, and that's how that company makes money since their service is free, or they're going to collect your personal information, then turn around and sell it to data brokers on the internet, and then they're going to turn around and sell it to whoever buys it, and next thing you know, you're getting 17,000 robocalls every single day. And that's where Delete Me comes in. They will look through all the major data brokers and find the ones that are selling your personal information and submit opt-out requests on your behalf, and then they are legally obligated to comply. And then they'll continue to monitor these data brokers, and if they get your information again, Delete Me will submit an opt-out request again. Basically, you're paying Delete Me to get rid of all the downsides of all of the free stuff on the internet, which I think is absolutely worth it. If you want to check them out, I'll have a link and a discount code down below. Let's get back to the video. All right, here's the deal. When people say, I want to be an electrician, what they're actually saying is, I want to be a journeyman or a master electrician. The only way to do that is to graduate from an apprenticeship program and then take the state exam and pass it. At that point, you become a journeyman. Then, typically, after you've worked as of 1 year for a journeyman, you are eligible to go and take another state exam that's harder to get your master's license. That's it. That's everything. Anything outside of that is unnecessary and probably a waste of money. There is no trade school or college program that you can go to for 2 years and get a diploma or a certificate and be qualified to take the state journeyman's exam. It's not allowed. This varies slightly from state to state. But
okay, that sucks. So like all you actually have to do is go and be a journey. I mean, it is likely, though, that maybe people won't let you be a journeyman for them if you don't have that degree. But
talk about the state of Iowa, it's very similar everywhere else. To graduate an apprenticeship program, you have to have 8,000 hours of on-the-job training, meaning you just have to go to work as an electrician's apprentice for 8,000 hours, which is about 4 years of working 40 hours a week. In addition to that, you need 800 hours of classroom time, and you have to pass a bunch of tests. Now, that classroom time varies from apprenticeship program to apprenticeship program, but typically it's either going to be night classes a couple nights a week for the 4 years, or in my particular case, my boss would just give us a week off and we would go to this school and we would have classes for 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And we did that 4 or 5 times a year for the 4 years that I was in. Those classes are paid for by the contractor. If you're in a union apprenticeship, the union has their own schools. And if you're in a non-union apprenticeship, typically the state runs an apprenticeship program. Your contractor pays the state to be able to send you to the school. People argue and get in a big pissing match about which one's better. At the end of the day, they both get you the exact same journeyman's license.
As long as it works, right?
But if you go to college first, you can get all the classroom stuff out of the way. Almost always. No, that's not true. I think.
Yeah, I was going to be like, that feels like, no, I feel like other times that I've had to do like class stuff, I had to do, like, if it had to do with college, I still had to do extra classroom stuff. Like,
there's 2 or 3 states in the country where if you have a 2-year electrical diploma or certificate or whatever, you're allowed to not have to do the classroom portion of your apprenticeship, but you still have to do the 8,000 hours of work.
So like what I was thinking was that like, with the diploma, you might be able to get a leg up on other people just trying to enter into the field. So like you might be able to get somebody who's more willing to accept you, as an apprentice, but it seems like maybe not.
Meaning you're still going to be an apprentice for 4 years. And if you come in with that diploma or certificate or whatever the fuck it is, guess how much more money they're going to pay you as a first-year apprentice? 99 times out of 100, fucking nothing, okay? I went through this apprenticeship program with plenty of people that did this. We made the same exact amount of money. It does nothing.
My offer is this. Nothing.
And that is why it's kind of a scam, right? When you go to, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, because I honestly, I sort of wish I hadn't done the 4 years of college, because I didn't get that much out of it that I use. I mean, I learned a little bit, like, I learned a little. I did learn how to like think a little bit more critically. I learned how to look at news sources and find news sources that I could trust and things like that. Because I did broadcast journalism was my major. So I did learn some things, but honestly, I really wish I had done a different major. I wish I'd looked at something else, just because I just don't use most of the stuff that I learned. And it was 4 years, man. That's a lot of time I could have been making money doing something else.
Nursing school. You graduate nursing school, you're automatically allowed to go take the state exam and get your RN license. You can't do that with an electrician. You go and you get their diploma that says you know what the fuck you're doing. Cool. You're still going to go be an apprentice for 4 years, and you paid for 2 years of schooling when your contractor would have paid for it for you. And that's if you're in one of the 3 states that allows that. Almost all the states still require you to go through the 800 hours of the apprenticeship classroom time. So you can literally go to college for 2 years, pay a bunch of money, get your little diploma. Congratulations, you're still sitting through 800 hours of classroom time for your apprenticeship. And anybody that says otherwise either A, fell for the scam and doesn't want to admit it, or B, they have some financial incentive, like they're an instructor at one of these schools and they want to keep their own gravy train running in so they don't have to go back and work in the field, and they can sit in their nice office with air conditioning all day long.
I wish my air conditioning does not work right now, so that's why I've got my fan, just in case. Because, like, it is hot. It is hot, 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 hot. It's, like, over 90 today, and I'm warm. And with the lights on, with the computer running, it's hot in here. Luckily, my roommate is not in today, so my door is open, trying to get any amount of airflow, because it is toasty.
Say it again and slower so it really sinks in. Going to college to become an electrician is not necessary in any of the 50 states in the United States of America.
Crazy. And good to know.
Very rarely is it even beneficial. To put this into perspective, if we take two 18-year-old high school kids that just graduated, one of them chooses to go into a 2-year community college program to be an electrician, and the other one just calls every contractor in town, asks for a job as a helper, and starts working the next day. What's going to end up happening is That helper, within 6 months,
They're
to
gonna
a
make a
year,
lot more
is gonna be
money.
offered the opportunity to join the apprenticeship program, and he's going to start a year before the other guy. Assuming everything goes well, he is then going to turn out, become a journeyman electrician a year before the other guy, make more money faster, and not have $12,000 of student debt to pay off because he got a 2-year diploma. Buh! But that guy with the 2-year diploma is more likely to get hired as an apprentice in the first place. Buh! Maybe, but also not really.
Answering my question.
Contractors that actively avoid hiring people that go through these programs because these programs tell these kids, oh, as soon as you graduate our program, you're going to be hired as a journeyman electrician and you're going to be making $35 an hour or $100,000 a year or whatever. And it's not true. So then they show up to work, they have a bad attitude, and they already think they know everything. They actively avoid hiring these people for that reason.
Interesting.
Because again, in reality, these programs count for nothing. You can graduate this program. Congratulations. Great job. I hope you had fun. Hope it was worth it. You're still getting hired as a first-year apprentice, making first-year apprentice wages, period, end of story, 99 times out of 100. How do I know that? A, I'm a journeyman electrician. B, I was actually one of the guys in charge of hiring new apprentices, and I cannot tell you the number of times I have had kids come in that had some certificate or diploma from a college that thought that that made them a journeyman electrician. So when they come in and I tell them, no, you're not a journeyman electrician, you're not qualified to make $60 an hour and run your own job sites, they're extremely either disheartened or pissed off, and I don't blame them because they just spent 2 years of their life and a bunch of money getting told they're going to have a job paying $60 an hour, and in reality, they qualify for a job that pays them somewhere between $18 and $22 an hour as an entry-level apprentice. And
I make that as a bartender. Something like that. Sometimes more. Like, you know, I can go to work for 5 or 6 hours and make 300 and whatever $. You know, it's like you can make that kind of money not having to work for 8 or 9 hours a day. like dang. Now you don't make the 60. Like that's what you want. Like obviously it's like the looking to the future, right? You know, like what can I do in a couple of years, in a few years, I suppose, not 2. But just saying that blows. Oh, especially if you were like promised you'd be making like good money. Oh, it's like MLMs, but like for dudes. Or I guess, I mean, I don't know many women who are electricians, but like in general though, that sucks. That sucks. You're told that you're going to be able to make a ton of money, but they lied.
And in 47 out of the 50 states, you're still going to have to go to 800 hours of classroom training. Maybe you'll be relearning some stuff that you already learned at college, but that brings into question, why did you go off to college to learn it and pay money when you could have just learned it for free?
Yeah, dang.
Oh yeah, well, if you get that 2-year diploma, it can help you advance quicker and make more money down the line when you want to get promotions. Again, no, not true. That's some bullshit they tell you at these schools to get you to spend money on their program, okay?
They would have got me.
Having an electrician's license is like the pinnacle of being a journeyman. Everything below that doesn't matter once you have that, okay? Saying that you're going to get preferential treatment because you have a certificate or something from a community college while also having a journeyman electrician's license is like saying if they're hiring 2 ER trauma doctors, they're both board certified ER trauma doctors with experience, but one of them also took a CPR class and knows how to do CPR, so we're going to hire that one and give him the promotion. Not true. They're both fucking trauma doctors. They both know how to do fucking CPR, okay? Nobody gives a shit.
They would have got me. That would have got me because that's what I was saying at the beginning. That's kind of what I thought might be the truth. But see, this is why we watch. This is why we learn.
I think when some company's hiring a master mechanic to run their auto shop and they have 2 master mechanics with experience that are applying, but one of them has a fucking certificate from Jiffy Lube that says he knows how to change oil, you think that's gonna tip the scales in his favor? No, they're both master mechanics. They know how to change fucking oil. You're just one of those crazy anti-college people. No, I'm not. I've been to college. I have multiple college degrees. I'm not anti-college if it's something you need to go to college for. What I am anti is telling these kids that they're going to be making $70 an hour and they're going to be a qualified journeyman so that you can milk money out of them and waste their fucking time.
Damn straight, Nick.
Well, if you get your diploma
he's got the keyboard warrior out in full force today, huh?
first, you at least won't have to be the new guy and do all the shitty work. Look at me.
Yes, you will.
Bullshit. When you are the new guy, you will be the fucking new guy, okay? I don't care what diploma or certificate you have. You are gonna be the guy that's digging the ditches. You are gonna be the guy whose job it is to hold the flashlight and shut the fuck up for the first couple years you are an apprentice electrician.
I'll hold the flashlight.
That's just how this goes.
Left you a little gift in there. Not too
Great.
hard, not too soft. Perfect.
And that's not even specific to
Ew.
being an electrician or the trades in general. That's pretty much every career path on the planet. Go watch fucking Scrubs or Grey's Anatomy or any of these other medical shows. All the new doctors have to do the scut work, all the work that none of the more experienced doctors want to do. They
And my brother was a cop for a while. And like, you know, they put the new cops on the shittiest route. Like you have you know, like the 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift, like, or like you've got it sucks. Like being the new guy, it's going to be rough regardless. And like working in a bar, like the new guy doesn't get weekend shifts, you know, and like they don't get to choose their you know, the shifts that they'd prefer. They get to do the shifts that they need filled. And that might be like a Monday and a Sunday or something. You gotta put in the time to get the perks. And that makes sense for no matter what college degree you have.
have to go do it. Okay, this is every job on the planet. There is no school or college you can go to that's going to let you speed run being the new guy, so you might as well get over that right now. And for the love of God, if you went to one of these schools and got one of these diplomas or certificates, do yourself and everyone else a favor. Do not show up your first day of work thinking that any work is beneath you. Because at best, you're going to get bullied, and at worst, everybody's going to absolutely hate you. You're going to
not help you
with some old journeyman that's been doing this for 30 years. He grew up in a house that didn't even have electricity, and when he became an electrician, it was literally going around town lighting the fucking light poles in his town, okay?
How old
He's
is
been an
he?
electrician since electricity became mainstream. And he is gonna
Is this guy like 88?
walk you over to a control cabinet that's got 12,000 wire terminations in it, open it up, look at you and say, okay, college boy, fucking show me what's up. And you're gonna be standing there like, fuck,
It seems to run on some kind of electricity.
I don't know anything.
You know what all those wires do?
Yeah, of course. Yellow, see? The sun is yellow, it heats the ground. That's how they name stuff. Is that car running?
And you know what? That's completely okay because you are a first-year apprentice. You just have to understand that you don't know anything so that you can learn. So hopefully by now you understand that if you want to be an electrician, you do not need to go to some college program for 2 years to get that diploma. So the next question is, how the fuck do you get into an apprenticeship? This is gonna sound like some boomer back in my day bullshit, but it's literally what I did 10 years ago. If you decide you want to be an electrician, call every contractor in town, ask for a job as a helper, say you'd like to work your way into being an apprentice. You'll probably have a job by the end of today, if not by the end of the week. And if you could show up on time, have a good attitude, and not be completely stupid, you will have a leg up in the hiring process when that apprenticeship slot opens up, because the company already knows you. They know you can show up on time. They know you work hard. They probably already like you. You're already one of the boys. In that situation, do you think your boss, when he's picking his next apprentice, is going to pick some dude that came from a community college that has expectations that he can't meet as an employer? Or do you think he's just going to give it to the guy that he already knows and trusts? He gives it to the guy he already knows and trusts. I'll give you the answer. The next question I get asked every single time, is this true for all other trade schools? I don't want to be an electrician. I want to be a welder or a plumber or whatever the fuck. An honest answer, I don't know. I'm not a journeyman in all other trades.
I was gonna ask, like, is that the case? Is that the case for like cosmetology? Beautician school? Is that the same for things in that sort of vein, like hair and nails and that sort of thing? But I'm, he doesn't know. See, one of the things I appreciate about Nick is that he's straight up. He tells you what he knows, he tells you what he doesn't know, and he's not gonna like waffle around. He might throw the keyboard warrior in there for fun, but
so I can't tell you. My best piece of advice would be to get a hold of a journeyman that is in that trade and ask them. They'll give you a really good idea. How do you get a hold of one of these journeymen? Super simple. If you want to be a plumber, look up plumbing shops in your area, find the one that's got good reviews, call them and say, hey, I'm a senior in high school and I'm doing a high school project because I think I want to be a plumber. Would it be possible for me to interview one of your best journeymen or best foremen or best superintendents for 5 minutes so I could ask them some questions? They will almost guaranteed help you out, get you in contact with that person, and then you can have that conversation. It's a good idea. Now, that being said, all the trades kind of work with each other. I've worked with plumbers, HVAC guys, welders. I've worked around and with everybody. Generally speaking, from what I've gathered, from what I've heard, again, not gospel, just what I've heard from other people.
not gospel, just gossip.
Heating and cooling and HVAC are both great. You should probably go to college for them. I've heard that those programs can help you a ton. Same thing goes for automotive. Same thing goes for like tool and die and machining. Welding and plumbing, it's kind of what you want to do because those are very broad career paths. If you want to be like a residential plumber that's going and doing water lines and putting toilets in houses, school can help you with that. If you want to be a welder like in a factory on an assembly line, welding school can absolutely help you with that. But if you want to be the plumber, welder, pipe fitter dude that's making like $1,000 per diem and $150 an hour because he's got the special skills to do these high pressure welds and all this other crazy shit, the schools are not really going to help you with that. And I know this because my best friend, the best man in my wedding, is that guy. He is the one that gets paid a bunch of money per diem and gets paid a ton of money per hour and has to travel to go do specialty welds that only he's certified to do, and not many people can do what he does. And he went to one of these fancy welding schools right out of high school. He went to, I believe it's considered one of the top 2 welding schools in the entire country on the other side of the country from where he lived. He moved out there for 2 years, spent 50 grand to go to this school, and he was told he was going to be hot shit. He was going to get a job paying $50 to $70 an hour right out of the gate. Came back home. The only people that would hire him were willing to pay him $18 an hour to do welds on a factory line. He worked that job for a couple of years, and then he decided he was going to apply to be an apprentice with the plumbing union so that he could get his journeyman's license. And guess what? He got hired as a first-year apprentice. Guess how much money he made? First-year apprentice pay, the same exact amount of money that people with literally no experience that just got out of high school were also making. He said that there was absolutely nothing he learned at this tech school that was not covered by his apprenticeship over the course of that 4 years. And if he could go back and do it all over again, he would have just joined the apprenticeship right out of high school, saved himself $40,000, $50,000 and 4 years of his time.
Like, honestly, me too. Like, I honestly, if I would do it over again, I would probably not do college. I would probably, I would have gotten a job. I would have made a bunch of money in that first couple of years. And then I would have actually gone out and tried to do some acting stuff. And maybe I would have ended up here at some point. I'm not sure, but I don't think college helps me in what I want to do. Like, I mean, I learned how to use, because even the thing is, like, I learned how to use like Final Cut Pro as an editing software, but even here, if I'm doing any edits, I use Premiere, or I use, right now I use DaVinci, and it's like anything I need to know how to do with either of those programs, just watch a 2-minute long YouTube video about it. So like, it was so much money and it was so unnecessary, and I didn't even make any really good friends. Like, I don't talk to anyone from my college. Occasionally on social media, there's like a post liked or something, but it was just, I mean, it got me out of the house. You know what? I'll give it that. It got me out of the house. I had a lot of experiences that I am glad I had. One moment. People were in my house. That was fun. Just to walk in, and because there was, like I said earlier, there was like an AC issue, and so they just kind of, they didn't text me to say they were coming in. They just came in. Yay! Seems like things are working again now, though. But like, anyway, it's fine. The AC's working again now, so I don't have to die.
But that's anecdotal evidence. I am not a journeyman welder or pipe fitter or plumber. I would double check with somebody that is. Now, the next question you're going to ask, because this also gets very confusing, is should I be union or non-union electrician? Full transparency, I was a union electrician my entire career. Why did I end up going that route? Very simply because they were the first company that hired me and they happened to be union. And this is going to piss off everybody because people have very, very strong opinions about whether or not you should or shouldn't be union. Whatever, you can have those opinions. I'm speaking to the 18-year-old kid that doesn't know anything. Deciding that right now is not like a life-altering fate decision.
Also, it doesn't really matter, would it? Like, you're going to get a job where you're going to get a job, and then once you have the journeyman thing, then you can go and be union if you want, right? Like, I feel like that's something that you can choose later too. I think that it would be a good idea to be a union for a job like that, because it's dangerous and specialized, but
Okay? I've met people that started in the non-union apprenticeship, got mad at their contractor, quit, and then joined the union apprenticeship and went on to become union journeymen. I know people that have flunked out of the union apprenticeship program, not because they were stupid or dumb or couldn't hack it, but because they had some own personal life issues going on and they ended up losing their job in the union. They went to a non-union shop, continued their apprenticeship, and they became a non-union journeyman. I've met shitty union electricians that I wouldn't trust to wire my house, and I've met union electricians that I've seen frequently have to correct electrical engineers, and they're absolutely brilliant, and I can say the same exact thing about non-union shops. Being union or non-union is not going to be the determining factor on whether or not you're going to be a good electrician.
That's
are
on
that
you.
determining factor.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
The only caveat I'll throw in is if you join the union apprenticeship with a union contractor, it's going to be squared away. You're going to have a very clear path of how to get your journeyman's license, and you will have the same exact thing with, I hope, the majority and the significant amount of non-union shops. However, because non-union shops are less regulated, there is the potential for some contractors to be shitty and not get you the right training with the state accredited program in a timely fashion. So if you're going non-union, which is completely fine,
Just
make
be careful.
sure it's with a good
Do your
non-union
research.
contractor that's going to get you going to the actual state accredited apprenticeship classes. Again, full transparency, I didn't want to make this video. It's not my normal jam. It's not some
it's
fun
not.
internet business, and it's not some history with a war hero or whatever. That's usually what I do here on YouTube. But I did
This is so necessary though. This is like a really cool thing for him to have done. Kudos to Nick for doing this video. That's awesome. And I feel like it is important. And if it's something that people ask him about a lot, I mean,
did want to answer these kids' questions. So originally, I just made a social media post over on X or Twitter or whatever the fuck you want to call it, explaining this, and the amount of backlash I got from people that have no idea what the fuck they're talking about was insane. So we're just
Wow.
going to go over and read some of the tweets,
Oh,
and we'll
God.
actually see how
Okay.
correct they are. Again, just for context, my tweet essentially said that trade schools to become an electrician are essentially a scam because they're not required in any of the 50 states, and you can just get paid while you learn and have your contractor pay for your actual in-classroom experience, and you should just attempt to do that instead. And here are some of the comments that I received. Quote, fuck basic training, let's just grab a rifle and head off to war. No, fuckhead.
That's not what
the
he said.
apprenticeship is the basic training. Do you understand that? Going to a tech school for 2 years before entering your apprenticeship is akin to going to a community college for 2 years to get a certificate or diploma in being a soldier before you ship off to basic training. It's
ROTC.
fucking dumb and unneeded. From Anonymous, buddy, it's not about what you learn. If two people apply for a job and one can show a degree and the other can't, guess who gets the job? You live in a country where people are showing college degrees to flip burgers at fucking McDonald's.
Yep.
Saying it's
That's
not about
exactly. But isn't that the point? Like, you have a college degree and you're flipping burger. I have a college degree and I'm tending bar, yeah, that's the problem. So if you don't have to go to college to do the thing, then don't. That's it.
What you learn in reference to going to college to get an education is the dumbest fucking thing I have ever heard in my entire life. And this attitude of, it doesn't matter if I learn anything as long as I've got a piece of paper that says I know something,
That
is
does
the reason
suck.
that nobody gives a fuck about college degrees in the trades in the first place. Congratulations, you're part of the problem.
I'm an idiot!
The problem with going down this path is a lot of people can't afford to do an unpaid apprenticeship. It's not an unpaid apprenticeship. There is no such thing as an unpaid trades apprenticeship. It doesn't fucking exist. It might have back in the fucking 1800s, but it doesn't right now.
But back in the 1800s, when you did your apprenticeship, and even then, mostly it wasn't unpaid from what I remember learning about. But also they would pay for whoever you were apprenticing with, you lived with them. They paid for your room and board, so they're feeding you and they are housing you and then you're working for them. So they provided the basic necessities. So even if they weren't really paying you much or if they were paying you pennies, you're still taken care of.
now, okay? I can't speak for every local or every
Granted, most of my information about that comes from like freaking Johnny Tremaine, but still.
sector of the country. But in Iowa, if you are a first-year apprentice in a smaller town that's the lower paid, our first-year apprentices are making like, I believe, $20 an hour day one with full healthcare coverage and
dang.
retirement benefits.
Fuck,
It's not an
that's
unpaid
so much
apprenticeship.
better.
And then
That's
every
awesome.
year of the 4-year apprenticeship that you complete, you get a raise. And then once you get your journeyman's license, you get a big raise and you're making like $60 an hour. Quote,
Nice.
or hear me out, you attend and graduate your chosen trade and then enter at top position with top pay. What a dumbass take. No, fuck stick, that's not how that works. You are not going to graduate from a community college and get a journeyman's license and get top pay or anything else. You are qualified to be a first-year apprentice and that's fucking it. You will get paid first apprenticeship wages just like everybody else that has no experience whatsoever. Shut up. This is why I'm
Yeah,
making this
tell
video,
'em, Nick.
because people that know absolutely fucking nothing about this have extremely strong opinions because they've been just from kindergarten through 12th grade beaten into
We
their
were all
fucking
told
head
that.
if they don't go to some type of school, they're not gonna make a bunch of money. It's not true. It's complete fucking bullshit. And tech schools are sued and go bankrupt and go out of business all the fucking time because they always get in trouble for fraud because they tell these kids, come here, get our certificate, you're going to be qualified to make $100,000 a year, and it very rarely, if ever, fucking happens. I have no reason to lie to you about this, okay? I volunteered to be on the hiring committee for my union because I like helping kids. I loved training apprentices. I would go back to doing it in a heartbeat if this YouTube thing dries up. So again, just so we're on the same page, trade school, tech school, some program at a community college that gives you a certificate or a diploma to be an electrician is not required in any state in the United States of America, and rarely is it helpful. It's more often than not a humongous waste of both your time and your money.
Trying to help you.
Yeah.
People that I would recommend them to are high school kids that are graduating and know they want to go into trades, but they also want to go get a college experience and party and drink with their friends, and they want to learn something applicable to that, and they just have an understanding of they're not going to be hot shit just because they graduated. Good, great option. If you want to go blow 12 grand, make memories, have the time of your life,
right?
Awesome. Again, same thing.
Like I said, I did enjoy a lot of my college experience at the time. And I do feel like there's certain things that I learned. I'm not applying it. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that I learned in college, I probably could have learned on the job somewhere, applying it that way. But, you know, like I said, I would probably not do college again, but I don't like fully regret doing it either. I just, you know, I like where I've ended up in my life, which I feel like, you know, if I had not done the college thing, might not have happened in that way, you know? We'll see. I don't know. Ifs, ands, and woulds, right? Coulda, woulda, shoulda, all of that. I'm so proud of Nick for making this video. This is so cool.
Thing with military veterans, you've been in the military for 4, 6, 8, 10 years, and you have a GI Bill that's going to pay for everything, and you just want to go off for a couple of years and party and drink
enjoy
and have
yourselves.
fun. A great purpose for that too. Just please, for your own good, do not let them convince you that you were going to get this diploma or certificate after 2 years of a community college, and you're going to come out making $100,000 a year, and that you know as much as a journeyman electrician, because neither of those things are true.
And that's all I have to say about that.
So yeah, sorry this wasn't a normal Fat Electrician or Fat Files video.
It was
This is kind of a
interesting.
one-off. I'll get back to my normal content as soon as possible. I've just had thousands of people ask me this question, and I'm in a unique position with this platform to get this answer out to as many people as possible.
Also, so wild that people were just like so sure. Like, I mean, I said at the beginning that it seemed to me like it might be more likely that a person with a degree would have a better chance, but then but I said I didn't know. You know, I was like, I don't know. I assume he's gonna tell me why I'm wrong. And so it's like the fact that people like we're so sure. People are so sure on the internet. It's like, you're wrong. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for thanks for looking out. I like these videos, and this was so interesting. I'm really glad I saw it. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one.